The Cotillion is one of the two featured races on Parks' Saturday card. It's a grade one, it's the 12th race, and it's the third leg in the Philly Big Five, run at a mile and a 16th for 3-year-old fillies. And this is the one that a lot of us are waiting to see because we get to see the Grizzly Bear, Thorpedo Anna, come back after that smashing effort in the Travers where she damn near pulled it off and beat the boys. Obviously the top of the class in this one, but you got a couple others. Probably the second best 3-year-old filly, Power Squeeze, who in her, I believe it is the last 8 starts, the only one to beat her is Thorpedo Anna. Scalable for Todd Pletcher, Tarifa for Brad Cox, Sidamara, kind of a new shooter to a degree, for Bill Mott, and Gunsong, who just had a front-running win in the Catherine Sophia at Parks and did so pretty impressively. Mystic Lake also is a hard knocker moving into this field as well. So we take a look at it and we see the lone speed is likely to be Gunsong. We do have a couple others who will be up and near the pace, but I think it's a pretty safe bet that Gunsong's going to be on the lead. Now, her last race in the Catherine Sophia, I thought was pretty impressive. Really looked like Impel had a full head of steam coming into the stretch and just couldn't get by Gunsong. And it's funny, when you watch the race, it looks like Gunsong's strides are shortening a bit. You compare the two of them, and Impel looks like she's going to blow by at any moment and just didn't. Gunsong might be one of those horses with deceptive speed that looks slower than she's actually going, but that's what it looked like to me. I think maybe she likes Parks. It seemed to elevate her a bit. Those fractions were very solid, and she should be the lone speed. If she can build on that, being a gun runner, later in the year, that gun runners tend to get better, and as they get older, then that would put her in the mix. And if for some reason Thorpedo Anna falters, which we haven't seen this year, but you never know, Gunsong's got a really good shot at wiring this field, and at 10-1, you're getting a nice price. I think Gunsong's one you want to throw in the mix. Tarifa to me is one that, looking at her body of work, it seems that the Kentucky Oaks, I think she just didn't like the mud. She's had a couple of starts when it's wet and has not fared well, so we can kind of draw a line through that one a little bit. But her more effective races have been when she's been able to run just off of a moderate to slow fractions and sort of can dictate from there. I don't know if necessarily that she's going to get that, but what I wonder about more than anything is the class level. The first one off the bench, probably wasn't cranked up all the way. I think this is the race Brad Cox was pointing to. But it just seemed like you go back and look at those races, then, I just wonder about maybe if she's not quite a grade one horse. That's kind of the way I look at her. At 5-1, I don't like that price with her. If you can get something that, a lot of money comes in on Thorpedo Anna and you get up like maybe 8-10-1, something like that, then maybe Tarifa gets a little more attractive to get underneath for the exacta. But I don't think she has the top end to take this field down, and I'm not sure she's going to get the scenario that she wants in this race. Mystic Lake is by Motown, and that's really what turns me off more than anything else. This horse has been running pretty well as of late. Last start was a pretty solid effort, but really by being by Motown, I don't think she wants 2 turns, and certainly gearing up to a grade one, I think that's really going to be telling here. So I'm going to pass on Mystic Lake. Power Squeeze, what's not to like? This horse, just won the Alabama. This horse has been in the money 8 out of 10 times, and the only horse to beat her in her last 8 starts has been Thorpedo Anna. And when Thorpedo Anna has beat her, Power Squeeze really hasn't shown up terribly well. Now, again, we can talk about a wet track, and maybe that had something to do with it. The other part of it is that Power Squeeze tactically is at a little bit of a disadvantage against Thorpedo Anna because she has to lay a little farther back. So coming into the stretch, Thorpedo Anna with the tactical position and just a faster horse, going to beat Power Squeeze every time. Can Power Squeeze get up into the money in this race and get into the exacta? Sure. But, 4 to 5 and 4 to 1, not much value there. But certainly Power Squeeze is absolutely a horse you have to include. I'm just worried that tactically it's going to be very difficult to close into this field with the likes of Thorpedo Anna in it. Scalable is by Speightstown, and okay, this horse has won at 2 turns. That's true, but against 2. I think class-wise, this one is up against it at a 2-turn race. Now, if this was a 1-turn race, maybe I can throw Scalable back in there, but this horse has not demonstrated to me that she is a Grade 1 caliber horse, and if I'm looking for runners to come in off the pace, there's others I prefer. Sidamara is a Bill Mott horse, and you've heard me say it a million times. Bill Mott on a big stakes day, hard to overlook. I have some questions about this one class-wise. That was a really nice effort last time, and she damn near pulled it off. But just looking at the overall body of work, I just wonder if this one's maybe a cut below. Certainly a cut below Thorpedo Anna right now. Now, she is certainly eligible to take a move forward, but I just look at the body of work and I haven't seen that big effort or efforts that show me that she's really ready to take that leap forward. I think this is a good horse. I think Bill Mott, as he always does, will have this horse running as well as she possibly can. But again, tactically, coming from off the pace, over mid-pack, somewhere like that, she is at a bit of a disadvantage and would really have to have a monster head of steam coming to overtake Thorpedo Anna. Very tall order, as I'm sure you'll agree. But can Sidamara get into the exotics? Absolutely, without any doubt. And I like Sidamara in this race. And puncher's chance again. If Thorpedo Anna, the long campaign gets to her, Sidamara is maybe one to think about, especially at 6 to 1. You're getting some good value. Everland is a synthetic specialist. I think it's come to that. This horse just hasn't been very good outside of Turfway. Did win the Bourbonette, and it was a hell of a claim to get this horse to win a stakes race after being claimed for 30 grand. So kudos to the connections. But closing in again in a race to where I don't necessarily think the pace is going to be anything to write home about. I think it'll be moderate, probably, maybe a hair quick, but it's not going to be enough for a horse who comes from behind, who doesn't have the commensurate speed figures to be competitive at a Grade 1, and certainly to overtake the likes of Thorpedo Anna. So, we look at our wagering strategy. Obviously, it does us no good to bet a horse that's likely going to go off at 1 to 5 or maybe even 1 to 9. Thorpedo Anna is clearly the class of this race, and to try to beat her may be a fool's errand. She's just too good. The only thing I would say is that it was a monster effort against the boys last time in the Travers, and she's run big every single time. And you've got the Breeders' Cup in the rear coming up ahead for Kenny McPeak. So, I mean, she may just win this on class because she's just too good. But I would like to think that the Breeders' Cup, Distaff, or even the Classic, wherever they decide to run her, is where they want that peak effort. So if you're going to try to beat Thorpedo Anna, maybe now's the time, but I don't know that I see a horse in this race that is good enough to do that. So it's really going to be more a question of Thorpedo Anna running a bad race than anybody running a good race, I would say. For the value play, we're going to put a win bet on Sidamara. One that has a chance. You can even go with Gunsong if you want to go that way too. I can understand it, but it's merely a value play in my book. We're going to go with a 6-5 cold exacta and a 6-7 cold exacta because we get prices on both of them. I don't see much use in betting a 6-1 with Power Squeeze, who's obviously going to be the second choice. So we'll just go with those, and we get either one home, then we're good to go. The trifecta, we're going to go 6-5 with 1-7, then we'll go 6-7 with 1-5, and then we're going to go 6 on top with 1-5 and 7. And she's, what can you say? This horse has done everything that a filly is supposed to do. She's a monster, and it will require her being not her best game for any of these to beat her. So I don't know that we really want to take that chance. I don't think I'm going to. I have tried to beat her in the past. I am not going to do it here. Thorpedo Anna to win. Hope this analysis helps you with your own wagering strategy. I wish you the best of luck as always. We'll have the Pennsylvania Derby posted coming up very shortly, so be on the lookout for that. And then we'll have a post on the Philly Big Five that comprises the Pennsylvania Derby, the Cotillion, and all the stakes races. So be on the lookout for that as well. So I'll talk to you soon, and until then, be well.